Handling a wild donkey escape is one of those challenges every donkey owner hopes to avoid, but it happens. Sometimes because of simple things like an unlatched gate, or it could be high winds stirring up the pasture. Beyond escapes, caring for a herd means paying attention to the animal's changing needs. Like my 26-year-old horse Stormy, who reminds me that age brings new challenges and sometimes unexpected behaviors. And then there's pasture care itself, rotations, hay quality, and maintaining fences, all of the details that keep the whole herd safe and healthy. Today, I want to share how I'm managing these challenges with patience, respect, and focus on building trust rather than pushing harder. I've had a morning where the wind was picking up, the hay bags I had just hung were swaying, making more noise than usual. Between that and the mountain lion that was sighted, the donkeys were understandably on edge. One of them even pushed under a fence, which shows just how careful we have to be with both environment and the animal's instincts. Today, though, there was just a latch that did not get latched. These donkeys are completely wild. We can't just walk up and catch them. So the key is to keep the pressure low and subtle, gently guiding them back without spooking them into running or worse, jumping a fence. Their natural instinct is self-preservation. They're not likely to waste energy unless they feel genuinely threatened. It's not the first time we've had one breakout like this. Once two mustangs and a donkey completely knocked over a fence and broke into the 2-acre pasture. Other times, having it been knocked down or the latch undone. With so many separated areas on the property, they don't usually get very far, but each escape is a reminder to stay vigilant. I am super grateful that we have many different pastures, so if they escape, they're just in another pen. And I don't want to make it sound like we've had breakouts very often. It's not been very often, but in the last 3 years, we seem to have had one per year. Now, watching them move around, you get a sense of their courage and curiosity, but also their limits. We have to balance out encouraging movement while herding without causing any panic. The delicate dance that takes patience, calm, energy, and a deep understanding of their behavior. So right now you can see they're kind of circling. Dan is pushing them towards the gate there, and I'm standing them to block them from coming towards a different gate. But just with a little bit of patience, they easily and calmly go right through the gate. I cannot tell you how happy I am that this went so smooth. I went down there to check on them in the morning. It was still dark out when Hannah let me know that we had some that had escaped. Now we still have one more fence to get them through. So now we need to get them from this wild pen. It's the wild pen extension for the new load that we were getting ready to bring home and into the training pens up there. Now Dan's going to open up the gate and I'm going to stay back, and then we'll just calmly walk towards them to help direct them into the pens that we want them in. And you can see Seamus, he's never very far from the action there. When you're doing this, stay calm. Remember, they can feel our heart rate from like 5 feet away. And we never even get that close to them. We stay pretty far away because their bubble at this point in their life is really a very large bubble. So don't think you need to move fast or get close to them. Once they move, you stop. You see how Dan stopped moving? If we kept moving right now when they're walking, they're going to think that they have not found the right answer, and that might cause them to escalate. So if they're moving at all, you're going to leave them alone. Yay, we did it. And dude over there is excitable. You guys remember Seamus's motto, you will love me, and he's never very far from the action. Here, he thinks he's going to help Dan. I still dream about bringing him into the house, but I don't know when that's going to happen yet. Seamus loves attention and will always be where we are. Where we're at, the snow comes and it goes. And with the snow gone, we're moving Stormy and Frank back to the south pasture. Now, we had moved them into the 2-acre because the hay that we had put out there, the round bale, it had a little bit more dust than what Stormy can handle. When Stormy was about 5 years old, we had got a bale of hay from a friend of ours who said, oh, it'll be just fine for the horses, but it had too much dust or mold. There was too much of something in there. And now Stormy is very sensitive to that. So anytime we have something that's just a little bit questionable, we move him so that he is not eating that hay because it would make him cough. This part of farm life is quieter, but just as important, managing pasture rotations to keep everyone healthy and comfortable. Stormy, with his years and wisdom, moves at his own pace, while Frank, still young and spirited, is eager to explore his new surroundings. It's definitely a balance of patience and care, watching how each animal responds to change. Stormy's age, 26 years old now, shows in small ways. Sometimes a little baby buck or a quick step out of rhythm. I've learned that these moments aren't just about behavior. They're often a sign that he needs more attention or maybe even some physical care. Now, Stormy has offered these little baby bucks now and again over the last year and a half. And I kept thinking, well, it must be because I'm not doing something. He's not getting enough attention. He's not getting enough rides. He just doesn't feel as loved. But a friend reminded me yesterday that his little baby bucks, it could be that he's letting me know he's in a little bit of pain. Now, I've had the vet out and the chiropractor adjusted him. This vet is a chiropractor, and his rear muscles are a little bit not as defined as they would like to see them. So it's something that we will just keep working on to try to keep him healthy. And he still looks pretty darn good for being 26 years old. Now, Frank, on the other hand, he's 2 years old and full of energy. Watching them together, you see the contrast: youth and experience, willingness and calm, and how they each need different things from us as their caretakers. The mules are so excited to have the horses back in the pasture with them. And you watch as Stormy just sits to eat and Frank runs around bucking and just racing around with the mules. The contrast is different. There's a lot of young mules in this pasture. There's a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, then Frank is 3, and another mule that's 18, and then Mr. Stormy, who is now 26. Remember earlier I talked about Stormy will let out a little baby buck every once in a while, and then noticing that out here he is not running with the rest of the animals. And that tells us some about how he's feeling and maybe some adjustments that I need to make to help him stay comfortable. He is 26. He'll be 27 next summer. But the rest of them sure love to run and play.
Bruce got yours pinned back.
Now this hot wire, it's not needed so much for the donkeys. However, Honk the donk, she is tall enough to eat over the fence, and this does keep her from doing that. But every so often we need to go and make sure it's not caught anywhere.
Hi, Seamus.
Shorting it out. Now, Seamus is happy to chase the side-by-side for a little while, but notice he doesn't chase it for too long. Donkeys like to conserve their energy, and Seamus maybe more than most. These are the new donkeys that are waiting to be gentled. We just brought them home. We are now up to 20 new wild donkeys. 2 of them we're going to keep for ourselves, and the other 18 are going to be available to other people. Here's Holler, guys. She loves attention, and your wild donkeys will eventually become like this, where they want attention and seek it out. Holler is much more forward, and next to her is Hoot, and then Seamus was out there. Here comes Wild Donkey Ah and Honk the Donk. They're all excited to go into the other pasture. There's still some grass out there for them to eat. There's not a ton of grass, but there's enough to keep them busy for a little while. Now, the tumbleweeds, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but donkeys like to eat them. I think that's just so funny. Our mules and donkeys both have liked to eat tumbleweeds. But we need to keep that hot wire from, having anything touch it and shorting it out. So we're just walking around and getting things cleaned up and checking the hot wire. Dude here is pretty excited that there's other donkeys on the other side of his fence. And again, there's hot wire there to keep them separated. And these guys, you'll notice when they're playing, it is nothing like the mules and the horses running around. They do run around some, but they're typically not moving as much as the horses and mules. Next, we're going to go feed the jacks, and you'll notice that there is a sturdy fence between the two jacks and hot wire between them. Now, Chance, he's older, and then Dude, young. So there's a big contrast in how they both act. Chance is a big sweetheart. He's not ours. We're just babysitting him right now. And they both have their own little access to shelter. They share water in the shelter, and you can just see how sweet and cute Chance is. Hopefully, he will be a daddy later on to some of our mammoth donkeys. Whether you're navigating the unpredictability of wild donkeys or learning how to care for aging equines, these challenges remind us how important patience and understanding are. If you're wanting ongoing support, resources, and a community that respects your journey with these incredible animals, consider joining our memberships or clinics. We're here to help you grow alongside your herd. Every step with these animals is a chance to learn, and you don't have to do it alone. Thanks for watching.